Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. It's Parshas Pinchas this week, and I'd like to share a thought based on a Dvar Torah by Rabbi Doron Perez. The rabbis of the Mishnah are having a debate about what the single most important verse in the entire Torah is. In other words, which verse captures its essence. Now, the debate can be found in Torah Kahanim, and the Maral of Prague quotes it in his book called the Netivat Olam. Ben Zoma says, Shema Yisrael, God is one. Ben Azai says, Bara Alikim Adam b'demus Elohim oso oso. On the day that God created man, he made him in his image. Rabbi Akiva and Ben Nana say, V'ahavta recha kamocha. Love your fellow man as yourself. And finally, Shimon ben Pazi. Asakevas echad taseh b'boker, v'asakevas hasheni taseh ben arbayim. The first lamb you shall sacrifice in the morning, and the second lamb you shall sacrifice in the evening. This verse refers to the daily tamid, the perpetual offering brought every morning and evening in the Beit HaMikdash. Now, the first three opinions seem to make the most sense. They reflect the basic, fundamental, and foundational teachings of the Torah. Man is created in the image of God, to love your neighbor as yourself, and God is one. What seems rather perplexing is the teaching of Shimon ben Pazi. How does his statement about the daily offerings of the lambs brought in the morning and the evening even compare to the all-encompassing statements of the previous rabbis? Now, the Maharal suggests the following. He says, Shimon ben Pazi believes that the only way to transform our lives in a sustainable way is through a continued daily commitment, through a continuous and consistent commitment day in and day out. That is the most productive path to improve ourselves and the world. And it's this commitment, stability, and perpetual dedication that is the heart of a moral and spiritual life. And after all, repeated daily actions become habits. Habits in turn become ingrained in character traits, and character traits eventually transform the person. In many ways, Judaism is more about the deed than the creed. Without this daily commitment as the anchor of our Jewish life and spiritual beliefs, proclamations like those often are lost in the abstraction. And I'd like to offer an additional insight. I think it's safe to say that most human beings are creatures of habit, and that is no simple task to change long-standing practices. For some, change invites the unknown, which creates its own share of fear and anxiety. Yet we all know there's one thing we can depend on, and that is change. Yesterday, I learned that my Italian barber, Nick, of 36 years, has decided to retire. For those who have a regular barber or hairdresser, you understand the loss I'm experiencing. But for those who don't, let me explain. It's the loss of the familiar. After 36 years, I didn't have to tell Nick what kind of haircut I wanted. I could just sit down in my regular chair and feel confident that I was going to look and feel better after my haircut. I knew what to expect. And no matter what kind of day I was having, good or bad, I walked into the barbershop and sat in my regular chair. I could relax and feel confident knowing I was going to be taken care of. An added bonus, Nick and I became friends over the years. We would share in each other's life cycle events of births and graduations, weddings, and even the passing of loved ones. And I'm going to miss him and miss that. The Korban Tamid, regardless of circumstances, was offered twice daily for hundreds of years. To me, Shimon ben Pazi offers the following lesson. Regardless of what we're experiencing during these crazy times, for the Jewish people, it's the steady and constant teachings of the Torah and trust in Hashem, which we can always depend on, regardless of the circumstances, challenges, and changes that await us. So if you care, please share. Shabbat Shalom.